Anyway, so I appreciate everybody being here. This business model is about 25 weeks old, and we use 13 TCU, Neely School of Business students, 4 MBAs and 9 undergrads. We've got a tremendous board of some civic leaders and community leaders in Fort Worth, but we're extending across the DFW marketplace. So our business model is all about drones, all things drones, trying to build a hub in the DFW marketplace. And if you can see the icons, we focus on pilots, operators. We focus on education, credentialing and certifications, and competing long-term. So what motivated this whole process was just a Goldman Sachs study that shows managed services, so big companies buying drone services to do something operationally. By 2020 in January, it would be $100 billion. By Pricewaterhouse, $127 billion. So you're going to see a cumulative growth of $117 billion since last year, U.S. only, business adoption of drones from an operations standpoint. And the technology's mature, the software is growing. So now how do we address services in a kind of coherent way? What is the why for DI2, guys? The whole process is drone right now, UAV, unmanned aviation vehicles. It's the Wild West, right? Very fragmented, lots of capital chasing it. Companies are spending money on it because it means something to the bottom line. We believe in the universal tenets of safety, privacy, security, and reliability. So we want to build responsible, safety-first operators. So businesses, consumers, and entertainment get safe value and real value out of it. What's the near-term future state drone? What does the market require? So one of the things that I'd like to do is I want to use blockchain to verticalize the drone industry, unmanned aviation vehicle industry. But what we need right now is world-class infrastructure, so database, the underlying data, it's verifiable. If someone makes a claim that they've done X number of missions, they've got this kind of rating of certification, they've got these credentials, it's real, it transacts inside our environment, blockchain enabled, it's real. The data is going to be secured, so it can't be stolen, it can't be changed. Accurate credentials, just mentioned something, and then immutable. Blockchain makes it immutable. Doesn't mean someone can't penetrate, breach into an infrastructure, but to alter the data, today it can't be done. And then on the future side, we're building a learning management system that's going to focus on peer-based ratings. So if someone wants to hire a pilot or an operator to do something drone-based, they go online, they do a search, it returns results. At that time, it dynamically rates and scores those group that meet that search criteria. So then you can transact in our environment and buy their services. And in the end, we're just producing responsible, safety-first, highly certified people. Operators, drone-based stuff. Our business model, short term, in the next 6 months, we're going to stand up what we call the Institute for Learning, just like Project Management Institute. And so it is focused on how the certification levels from a base level capability to an expert. And then by industry, we're going to focus on building an online marketplace on the right called Drone Managed DI2 Managed Services so that companies can transact using this database and hire and actually pay for services. And then it's going to be all blockchain enabled, blockchain assured. Our timeline, this is a very complicated model. Most of these represent various pieces and legal entities of a business model over the next 18 months to 5 years. And we are building this to sell. So there is a, kind of a VC play here, but we're trying to build an ecosystem that's self-sustaining. Anyway, bottom line is we're going to stand up the Institute for Learning. We're going to stand up the managed services, and we're going to promote STEM education. And we've got a strong reseller relationship with a company for 29 years, and they've got a Discover drone kit that's fantastic. But in the end, we're building this first, and we're going to start tapping into young people and build that workforce for tomorrow. What we're looking for right now, we have great relationships we've established. Don't have time to get into it now. But in the end, our whole model with partners, it could be a Bell helicopter, it could be a Microsoft as a technology partner, it could be anybody that provides managed services and on a big way for large enterprises. But we want to engage America's youth first through STEM, create a household brand, so any major entity that's in the drone business and is doing something in a scalable way If they start teaming with us, we're going to help brand them with 198 million millennials and post-millennials in the U.S. right now. And we're going to build return on investment, just ROI, for companies that are looking for long-term plays like mobility on demand taxi services. So Bell is building a vehicle with Uber and GE that will move people, but that's a 5 to 15-year deal. Short term, if they team with us and we help develop some responsible operators, they'll start tapping into the relationship with the 198 million millennials through us that then become consumers of their bigger capability long term. Last thing, this thing has 30 hours per student. And these students actually build drones and fly them. A kit, $6,000, we resell this today. This kit has lab work, online simulation flying. It teaches you the principles around drones and flight and batteries and kind of movements or energy, stuff like that. They then go out and as a group, it's five drones per, or it's five kids per drone, sorry. And anyway, they build them and fly them. And so over this 30 credit hours, these young kids have a chance to build their knowledge. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Great presentation. Obviously, you and I have talked a little bit. A lot of information.
Yeah, it is.
And I think the exciting part is if you just look at the growth potential of the industry, there is the slide that showed just U.S.-based alone, $10 billion industry today, projected to be $100 billion in 2020 and $127 by 2021. If we think about this, I was talking to my 19-year-old son yesterday who is an computer science engineer major at A&M, and this is their cup of tea. This is the, technology right now, and with drones is moving, going. So, and Scott is so passionate about this. You talk to him, it's like, calm down a little. It's really fun to see. So, going places sounds great, and look forward to it. We'll start questions. Again, please have the microphone with you so we can have this on video, though we won't hear your questions unless you have the microphone in front of you. So let's open up to some questions now. Who wants to be first? Andrew?
A great presentation and an excellent concept. It is a pretty dynamic market to be in. I know you didn't have much time, but could you go back through your timeline again and talk about kind of what your priority is and what you really wanted to accomplish first to kind of lay the foundation and then build off of that.
Okay, so my daughter does call me a 13-year-old businessman. So just, okay. The older people get it, the younger people don't. Anyway, so the key is what becomes fundable and has the greatest scale is standing up, and it's just like the Project Management Institute. So anybody in here that's familiar with an accreditation environment like that appreciates what it means for a company to want to hire someone that's got certifications and credentials. So standing this thing up first. So our next 6 months, we've got 6 use cases. We know the underlying learning management system we're going to use. We know the simulator we're going to integrate. So building this first is paramount. And we're doing it with one big industry in mind and one big company in mind who's going to be able to use our content. So this is big. Being able to set up in the next 6 months an online transaction, just like Uber, just like Airbnb, just like Indeed. I mean, I can actually go online, I can search, and I can transact. So it brings buyers and sellers together. So this, tied to this, with a framework of blockchain wrapping it is where we're focused initially. Now, the STEM reseller we're lucky as heck. So we built a relationship with a company out of Boise, and I'll be fast, so I'm sorry. 29 years they've been doing STEM education. Unbelievable, 254 courses and curriculum. Last 7 years they've touched 1 million kids online, right, digitally. So we started working with them because they want us to build this learning management system, and they want to license it back for all their STEM content, right? So we're going to get 40 cents of every dollar on that. But we also are resellers, so until we get there, everything we resell, we get between 30 and 35%. So the point is setting up that reseller and focusing on Discover Drones Kit is what we want to do.
Yeah, hi, quick question. I'm a former pilot, recovering. It's been about 10 years, but what interests me is your certifications, particularly on the drone side. One of the challenges we have right now, particularly on the regional side, is lack of pilots, lack of training, capability, capacity for pilots. And I'm curious. I know there's a connection between drones and kind of further on for pilots, but the certification and is that kind of a self-made certification? Is this in concert with the FAA? Because I know that they're taking paying a lot of attention to the drones now.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So we've developed something, we call it, we don't have the domain, but we call it UASRPRemotePilot.org. But it's pilots today, operators that are flying drones and making money. It's 2 or 3 industries that are really adopting drones in a big way. And it's businesses inside those industries that are adopting drones in a big way, and a former FAA person that spent 32 years developing the UAV policies. So that group is going to get us to focus on how you certify levels 1 through 4, and then how you rate, and then how you create credentials by industry. Yep.
So, Scott, let's talk about I guess the first emphasis then would be the training. I think if people look at big business and say, there's so many opportunities for drone needs for different types of businesses, whether it be surveying, whether it be helping businesses look at roofing. There's just a lot of opportunities. What is the biggest segment of the business you see, growing a need for?
Well, construction, agriculture, public safety. So what's really important is anything a drone's doing is collecting data and video, right? So in the end, that's what it's doing. Short term, it's going to be manned. Mid-term, semi-autonomous and autonomous. Long term, it's going to be completely autonomous. So our focus is on those industries, ones I mentioned, and really developing skills around how you operate a drone to collect that data in a secure way and transmit it, and produce a result that's certified. And then long term is the enterprise software that's going to enable a drone, configure a drone, enable a drone to do a mission. So we're going to go from manned to autonomous over time, and everything underneath it that drives it, and create certifications around that.
Hi, I would like to say this is a great idea. And
Thank you.
I have a question just to kind of piggyback on your answer. There was a guy in our neighborhood who was flying drones over roofs. He worked for a roofing contractor, and then he would go and show the results to the homeowners. So there's definitely a sales application for, especially with how much business there is for roofers. What my question is about your reseller in your, I guess, would you call it like a bootstrap phase, or?
You mean for the business itself?
Well, the part where you were talking about that you have a STEM reseller,
Right.
I was wondering if you were planning to use any sort of affiliate marketing so that some of the smaller
Big time.
people with larger lists might be able to participate as well.
Yep, we're going to have, guys, we're spending, we got a lot of money allocated towards targeting the 198 million millennials and post-millennials. We're building websites that are going to be digitally enabled, marketing enabled. We're going to segment all that audience based on industry, use, doesn't matter, right? There's a company that does really great data analytics around that. But in the end, the affiliate marketing is going to drive a whole ecosystem in the adoption. And everyone shares in the money. Yeah, so the answer is yes.
You mentioned that you want to create jobs.
Yes, I did.
So I am a high school dropout. I think that it's no need for me to go to college, and my professors are just worse than I am.
Okay.
What are the drone market that I can go in and make enough living and support my family?
Well, and there's pressures right now in pricing, but you can go fly a drone today and do a survey of a roof. You can fly a drone today and look at and do a mapping of a big piece of property. You can do search and rescue stuff, right? But if you will go online and get trained, find a way to get trained online, because you got to get a Part 107. FAA only has one requirement right now, period, and that's just a written exam, right? And that's what we're going to extend. And then beyond that, you can go fly one. Well, you need to get good at flying it so companies will hire you. So learn how to fly a drone and learn how to use a camera on a drone and collect the data in the video, and then you can start searching for jobs. And it pays anywhere from 125 to 185 bucks an hour right now. So you can make money. You can make money.
Yeah, we had talked about, there are some colleges now that are offering drone training, but what's the, one thing I don't remember, I've talked about.
Tarrant County College.
Yeah, but there's your course is basically how long of a course to get certification at certain levels? I mean, is it a?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason I don't know is we're starting to define
Okay.
it, right? Yeah.
And are there different certification levels?
There are going to be 4,
Okay.
right?
So, yeah, I think that this is something that we, just, as a group, realize that the drones are here to stay. It's going to be something of a big future ahead. Different sizes. I mean, you and I have looked at pictures of smallest to
Yeah.
huge,
Yeah.
50-pound drones that are kind of scary that'd be flying around, but that's something that's probably reality someday.
Yeah.
So it's a neat market.
It's a fantastic market. It'll be $1 trillion industry.
Great.
Yeah.
Questions?
Will you be after your pilots go through the training?
Mhm.
Will you also be helping them to find work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this marketplace right here, if you look at this, it's, it doesn't say it on here, but I did have it on here. Anyway, we're building the ability to create your own marketing capability within the online marketplace. Your own website, your own ability to market and promote yourself. And then, but really what's important is if you've established credentials, you get good net promoter scores from your clients, you get good customer sat ratings, you're going to percolate on search criteria. So, but you'll have the ability to market yourself inside that environment.
So tell us today opportunities that we can provide you as a group. Obviously now
$1 million
this team-
convertible note, secured. That's serious. That's
Not all,
No.
everybody, don't everybody stand up at once. No, great opportunities. So the question is really financing,
partnerships,
networking partnerships.
education. The Discover Drone Kit is fantastic and doesn't exist today. So getting that into ISDs and schools, so a foundation that can underwrite something on a scalable, and I've got all the data for Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arkansas, Louisiana, because we own those states. We have the rights to those states. And online anywhere. So the point being is starting there, because that'll fund this whole business. And but it would really help the adoption and demystifying drones for kids.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your presentation. And you got one more question. All right, sorry.
I just have one, and I apologize that I missed the beginning. Are you in a position where you could scale this for the summer camp,
Right.
like
We have-
this year?
Absolutely.
Okay. Put me
yeah.
on your mailing list because I'm interested.
Well, but I need to know who you are. but thank you. I will. Okay. Guys,
Super.
thank
Well,
you very much.
Scott, thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate the presentation. Great information.